to Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce Radio. Join us weekly as we feature top professionals to talk about travel and tourism, hospitality, arts and culture, commercial retail, and other exciting events happening in our city. Visit MiamiBeachChamber.com to learn more about how this premier, influential South Florida organization can help spotlight your business to the greater Miami and Miami Beach market. And now, enjoy our show with your host, Chamber President and CEO, Jerry Libes.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Miami Beach Chamber Radio Network. And today we have an exciting show and it's going to feature one of our outstanding cultural arts organizations in Miami Beach. I want to welcome from the Center for Folk and Community Arts, the founders, Dina and Stuart Stewart. Welcome to the show, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And, you know, it's a really interesting twist that we have today, too, because, of course, we're on radio, and so folks don't see this, but we're actually recording this and filming it as well for one of your ventures. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about what you do and why we're filming this today?
Well, we're filming this today for Alive on South Beach, an online video show that we co-host for syndicatednews.net.
And that is a major affiliate, isn't it?
It's a major affiliate. And Stuart?
Well, first of all, syndicatednews.net is an LLC news gathering website that's registered with the Library of Congress and gets over 250,000 hits a month. And it also depends, sometimes it gets a lot more depending on the news cycles because they live stream from around the world. And they have celebrities that also participate on this website, like Alex Baldwin and Justine Bateman and Ileana Douglas. And they had Jimmy Church, who was a sports announcer, who was the man who exposed the Sandusky scandal.
Wow, so we're taking the radio show here to a new level. This is amazing. Well, thank you.
Now you got to remember to smile because...
So, you know, I have a little intro here that I want to tell about the two of you and then some follow-up questions. Because Dina and Stuart, you're two well-known studio artists. You came down here from New York in 1988, it says by accident.
By accident.
All right, and you heard about the Art Center in South Florida and you went to investigate it. And someone made you an offer you couldn't refuse. Why don't you tell us about what was that offer?
That offer was over 500 square feet of storefront on Lincoln Road for under, now get this, $100 a month.
Wow, say that again, 500 square feet
of storefront footage.
Right, awesome.
On Lincoln Road.
And how long was that deal good for?
That deal was actually good for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then the grant funds, you know, for that ran out.
Right.
But it was wonderful. It was a wonderful time to be in Miami Beach.
And tell us about what you're doing. What is your business model? And talk about how the business community could connect with you.
Well, first, let me explain because this is multi-layered. 25 years ago, we created the Center for Folk and Community Art, whose mission is to use visual art first as a tool of intervention and prevention, and then as a method of education, as well as
presentation. And basically what we do is go into communities and using an outreach program that we created called Telling Stories Through Visuals, we get people who are not artists, people with no artistic background, to actually express their feelings, their experiences in writing and art form. That's the intervention, prevention aspect of it. The education aspect of it is we craft movable tapestries with their stories and their artwork. And we go into other communities and we educate the public about these issues from the perspective of the people who are most impacted by
Wow,
them.
it sounds therapeutic. Yeah.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
beginning. We decided to create this organization because as studio artists, we're very blessed. And I truly believe that if you are blessed, you have to give something back. And a lot of people do it by donating money to organizations. We felt if we could give them some of what we've learned and self-taught, it would be worth more than money. So we created this organization, and for 25 years, we've been able to support it through grants from the community, from government agencies, and then the economy collapsed.
and that I'm sure had to be devastating. So what happens today? How do you
Well,
continue?
this is where we're going to connect the dots. We created this opportunity to do this show so that we can have sponsors. And the money that the sponsors give to the show will then go directly to the Center for Folk and Community Art to fund their projects, and would be a tax-deductible donation. Because the money, it just isn't out there. People that have given us money for 25 years says, I can't give you that kind of funding anymore. We just don't have it. So we recognize that everybody is hurting. So we want to give something back here so that people will give us enough so that we can continue our work in the community and keep this circle
That's great. You know,
going.
give us an example of one of the organizations you work with or some of the lessons you've taught. What would be?
Okay, right now, just to give you an
Sure.
example, we're working with kids from Edison Senior High School as well as North Miami Senior High School. And basically what we're doing is having them write about their experiences and do artwork addressing the issue of civility, or basically the lack of it. And getting them to define in their words what civility is to them, because we had a specific, kind of model in mind when we went into the school, but that was based on adult issues. And to listen to teenagers express what civility means in their life and their communities is very different, but it gives insight into what we as adults need to understand, so that when addressing these kinds of problems, we know where they're coming from.
That sounds great. We're going to take a short commercial break and come back. On the other side of the break, stay right here, and we're going to ask you some follow-ups. Sounded a little bit like the bullying kind of thing that's going on now.
Yes,
and that was
very,
another
very
great lesson.
much.
But
That was
we'll come
another
back
project that
and
we're
I want to
doing.
talk also about some of the outstanding recognition awards that you both received. So hang on and stay right there. Driving around town, you may have noticed a greener landscape. That's because more and more homeowners, resorts, businesses, and municipalities like Miami Beach are turning to artificial grass to reduce maintenance costs, conserve water, and be more environmentally responsible. Beyond the obvious environmental and aesthetic benefits that synthetic turf represents, buyers enjoy a beautifully manicured landscape all year round without the hassles and unpredictability of natural grass. Easy Grass, a pillar member of the Miami Beach Chamber, is based right here in Miami and offers a complete line of synthetic turf products for landscaping, playgrounds, play spaces, golf, and pets too. Visit their website at easygrass.net for more information and to see how you too can enjoy a hassle-free lawn. Okay, well, Stewart's. You like that, huh? Okay.
That was a great commercial, and I think you've got a career in doing voiceover.
Well, thank you. I don't know about the TV thing. It's a little bit intimidating, but you guys are experts. In fact, you've won quite a few recognition awards. Dina, you were honored in 2001 as Woman Worth Knowing, and that was bestowed upon you by the Miami Beach Commission on the Status of Women. Tell us a little bit about that award and why you won that.
It was based on several different things. First of all, I had done a considerable amount of community service. Aside from the Center for Folk and Community Art, I served on several boards here in the city. The Art and Public Places, the Fine Arts Board, and I've always been active in the community, giving back on some level. And I was very honored, frankly, because the people who happened to have been honored that particular year, I was very impressed with.
Well, it is a very prestigious award, and only one amongst many. As I'm looking at it here, both of you, Dina and Stewart, you've both received Keys to the City of Miami Beach on recognition for your outstanding community service. You've received 13 proclamations. 13, wow. 13 proclamations from Miami-Dade County, City of Miami Beach, City of Dallas, Texas, City of San Diego, California. That's really an accomplishment. Most of us never get any acknowledgement for the work that we do, much less 13 proclamations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great. Tell us about your Alive on South Beach show, your latest venture.
It's a quirky video show that features the people, the colorful people, the characters that make up Miami Beach.
We have some colorful characters.
We have wonderful people on Miami Beach, and when we have a chance to actually see them in action, go behind the scenes of the different events, the zillions of events that go on here on Miami Beach, and just focus in on what makes these events happen. who are the people that come to these events? You know, that gets other people interested in what Miami Beach has to offer.
You guys, over the 25 years and all of the different things you've been involved, must have come up with some, very interesting, as you talk about characters and interesting stories. Can you give us an example? What would you say would be like the funniest or the most interesting, contact you have?
Ridiculous ones.
Okay.
Your Bob Seger thing.
Well, yeah, we were just thinking of this. When we first moved here, we didn't have a car, we took public transportation. We were waiting for a bus near where the Performing Arts Center is now. And this stretch limo went by, so I put out my hand to
Kidding
hitchhike.
around.
They stopped, opened the door. A guy who was sitting in the back went into the front, and he said, "Hey, enjoy it." He turned around and said, "Would you like a drink?" He says, "Pour yourself a drink." He says, "I got to make a stop along the way." And he stops, and I asked the chauffeur, I said, "Who is this?" He says, "He's Bob Seger, the performer." Okay, we spend the whole day with him. He spends the whole day trying to talk me into sending him a painting, and he'll send me a check, which I didn't do. The end of the day, he took us out for dinner.
Amazing.
After that, the next day I got a call from the chauffeur, and he says, "Do you know who that guy was?" He wasn't Bob Seger. He was an imposter. And he ran out on all his hotel bills, his limousine bill, and everything. And I was the only winner because I wasn't impressed by and awed by who he was.
That is
But,
a
I mean,
crazy story.
It was a crazy story. I mean, just giving you an example of who 25 years ago came down here.
Right.
In terms of just, anything could happen.
I've heard that your show is soon going to be seen in China. And I've had a connection with China
Yeah, I
since
know.
2006.
This is something
Yes.
How did that come about?
new, and we're very excited about. Syndicatednews.net has been negotiating with the Chinese government for, as Ruthie Tatucci, our editor, said, for it seems like a lifetime. But we jumped through all the hoops, and they vetted us, and because we're licensed with the Library of Congress as a news gathering site, and they checked out what we do, they're allowing us to put a website on their internet, and it's going to be half in English and half in Mandarin. And at the same time, we're opening up another site that's coming out of Malaysia, which will cover the rest of Asia.
And how could our chamber members work with your show if they wanted to have some kind of branding or whatever? It seems like an amazing opportunity.
We have a really good package that we offer to all our sponsors. That's a 3-month deal that includes an interview or coverage of an event, as well as links on different pages to go directly to their websites. Now, this package to general public costs for 3 months $1,500. We will give a 1/3 discount to chamber members to become sponsors, and we will work with them to get as much exposure as possible, because we do interviews and we can always drop into our conversations brand names.
Very good. What would you say to our audience, a couple of business tips that you've learned along the way? We like to each week try and share some of your insight, things that you've learned that you could perhaps have other people apply to their business. So we're looking for a generic business tip that you might have or two.
The one thing that I found consistent about Miami Beach is that every 18 months or so, everything changes. So my suggestion is, if suddenly things have changed and you don't like the way they are, just be patient. They're going to change again, and maybe the next
Like
wave.
the weather in Miami.
Yeah,
Beach.
no, like the
Exactly.
waves that come in.
But another
Fantastic.
thing, just in terms of answering your question, just do what makes you happy. If you enjoy what you're doing, just continue doing it. And eventually you'll figure out how to earn a living by doing that.
Your contact information, you want to give it to us?
You go to syndicatednews.net, on the left-hand side, the
Purple
purple buttons. Hit that, there's a menu, go to our front page and take it from there, and also check out our sponsors.
Very good. Thank you very much for
Thank
joining us.
you.